الله أكبر الله أكبر.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه غر الميامين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد: ثم قست قلوبكم من بعد ذلك فهي كالحجارة أو أشد قسوة. صدق الله العظيم. Respected and honorable ulama, huffaz, brothers and elders in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We begin by praising Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for the many ni'mat and bounties that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has bestowed us with. And we make dua to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that Ya Allah have blessed us with Iman. Ya Allah, keep this Iman alive in our lives, in the lives of our progenies to come right up to the day of Qiyamah. And Ya Ilahul Alameen, the day when we have to meet you, and the day when we have to leave this world, then Ya Allah, make it possible that we leave this world with our heart brimming with the nur of Iman and with the kalima and the shahada upon our tongues. Ameen. Respected elders and friends, today being the Yawmul Jumu'ah, the Eid of the Mu'mineen, the Eid of the believers, and addressing our brothers from the spiritual platform, I think I would like to discuss a few aspects from the spiritual parts of what is happening in the Muslim Ummah, especially in the Middle East, in countries like Syria and Egypt, etc. One is we can analyze the political aspect, but as I have been mentioned, that we are sitting and I'm sitting at that platform, on that member, which is a spiritual platform. And therefore, let us try to see what Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wants us, or what has Allah and what has Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam commanded us to do at this trying time and this time when the Ummah is facing these difficulties. Respected elders and friends, I have recited an ayah of the Holy Quran from Surah Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressing the Bani Israel. ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُم مِّن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ فَهِيَ كَالْحِجَارَةِ أَوْ أَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً. If we really read deep into these ayat and study the ayat or the ayats before this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention of certain aspects which have taken place in the time of Bani Israel. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showing them the right. And they have witnessed the greatness of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Yet you find that they did not take heed and they did not accept the kalam and the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressing them that after all I have shown you everything was opened in front of you, yet you did not take heed. ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُم مِّن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ فَهِيَ كَالْحِجَارَةِ أَوْ أَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that your heart has become so hard, it is like a rock, أو أشد قسوة, or even nay, harder than a rock. My respected elders and friends, we are seeing the footage. Daily, young children are being slaughtered and butchered. Mothers and sisters are being raped in front of their family members, in front of their children, in front of sisters are being raped in front of their siblings. Brothers are shot in front of their children. People performing Salaah in the masjid, where you take refuge in the house of Allah, coming to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but only to find out before they leave they are to be killed. Seeing all this, my respected elders and friends, yet we find it is only a phase, and we look at it and we continue that everyday thing, and then we go back and we'll continue to ask, who's playing the next game? Who's top of the log? Who have come second on the log? Who bought who? For how much did they buy the person? My respected elders and friends, wallah, if our heart is not hard, then I do not know what to call it. Allah Ta'ala says, ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. You are seeing everything, yet you cannot tear. How many of us, my respected elders and friends, after seeing that innocent children being butchered, after seeing the footage where, you see it on YouTube, on all the social networks, they're making the rounds of how these atrocities are being forced upon our brothers and sisters in places like Syria and Egypt, etc. Yet how many of us have even shed a tear, for what is happening in the Muslim Ummah? Did we even make a change in our life to say that this is what's happening to my innocent children? It is my child. It is your child, my respected elders and friends. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He addresses the Ummah, He says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. That verily, you are brothers to one another. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam making mention with regard to the Muslim Ummah. Al-mu'min kal-jasad al-wahid. Al-mu'minun kal-jasad al-wahid. إِذِ اشْتَكَى عَيْنٌ اشْتَكَى كُلُّهُ وَإِذِ اشْتَكَى رَأْسٌ اشْتَكَى كُلُّهُ. Nabi alayhi salatu wa salam says that the Muslim Ummah is like one body. That when when the eyes are feeling the pain, or is going through some trouble, some difficulty, some illness, then the entire body feels the pain. And when a person has a headache, then the entire body feels the effect of the headache. Yes, that's can we take ourselves and place it in this example of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Some may argue, my respected elders and friends, look at Hazrat Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. لو هلكت, he says, that if I get to know, or if an animal has to die on the bank of the Euphrates river, during the era and the Khilafat of Umar ibn Khattab, oh Umar, I fear that you will be brought to reckoning in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah. That Umar, an animal had died out of thirst or hunger in your Khilafat. What have you done for it? What have you done for it? This was the fear of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala. We may say it is economic constraints, political pressure. What do I do? Yes, we can do a lot. My respected elders and friends, we can do a lot. And we can take out some time and cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The least is what we can do. And which is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us go through the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ فَهِيَ كَالْحِجَارَةِ وَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً. That Allah ta'ala says that their heart has become so hard, كَالْحِجَارَةِ, like stones, like rocks, or وَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً, or even harder than this rock. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention in the next few, explaining three types of rocks. وَإِنَّ مِنَ الْحِجَارَةِ لَمَا يَتَفَجَّرُ مِنْهُ الْأَنْهَارُ. Allah Ta'ala says that there are those type of rocks from which rivers flow. Rivers gush forth from these types of rocks, and obviously they benefit many, many people. وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَشَقَّقُ فَيَخْرُجُ مِنْهُ الْمَاءُ. And Allah Ta'ala says that the second type of rock, that which splits and causing some water to flow. Perhaps many people will not benefit as much as they benefit from the first, but at least there will be some people who will benefit from the second type of the rock, because some type of water, the rock splits, and some type of water will flow from it. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَهْبِطُ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ. Then there are those type of rocks which falls. Why do they fall? Because of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How often we driving, and then we see the board, be careful, rocks falling. How often we see this? Why is it falling? Not every rock which falls because of the fear of Allah, but there are some of the rocks. وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَهْبِطُ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ. That these rocks fall out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did our heart even move out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I remember traveling a few years ago in Mauritius, in Malaysia, in Langkawi. Some of the roads are very, very narrow. Driving past big mountains, whatever they have there, suddenly they got a board that or a sign that a rock's falling. As we driving, every few minutes, this moving our head. So the driver then asks, "What's the problem?" He says, "No, man, it looks like the rocks are going to fall." So he says, "No, there's no rocks falling." He says, "No, it seems that." He says, "Look close. It's not rocks, it's apes jumping down." So anyway, sometimes we find that these rocks fall out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is mentioned that one Sahabi comes to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam giving a discourse and a lecture. And suddenly Sahaba Ikram starts tearing. My respected elders and friends, there was a time in the Ummah that when the Sahaba Ikram all were crying, one person couldn't cry. So he comes to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with this complaint that my heart has become hard, I cannot cry. There was one time in the Ummah that the person who never used to cry used to look out for to be the odd one. Today the situation is different. The person who cries in the gathering is looked at as an old one and asked, "What is he crying for? What's the problem?" There was a time in the Ummah when the person, that Sahabi, could not cry. He came to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. "O Nabi of Allah, I have noticed that there's something wrong with me. I cannot cry. I cannot cry. There are others in the gathering who have tears. What is the situation, O Nabi of Allah?" Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replies and says, "Jumudul ayn min qaswatil qalb." That the dryness of your eye, the spiritual eye, it is because of the hardening of your heart. وَقَسْوَةُ الْقَلْبِ مِنْ كَثْرَةِ الذُّنُوبِ. And a person's heart becomes hard because of excessive sinning. Because of excessive sinning, it becomes that a person now his heart becomes hard and he cannot tear. وَكَثْرَةُ الذُّنُوبِ مِنْ نِسْيَانِ الْمَوْتِ. And what is the reason that a person sins excessively? It is because he forgets death. He forgets that he needs to leave this world and he will have to face Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. وَنِسْيَانُ الْمَوْتِ مِنْ طُولِ الْعَمَلِ. And why is it that a person forgets death? It is because of him becoming very ambitious in life and of life. وَطُولُ الْعَمَلِ مِنْ حُبِّ الدُّنْيَا. And why does a person become ambitious of this dunya? Why does he always want to look forward and always planning ahead for this world and for the worldly matters and the worldly things and for the worldly things? It is because of حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا. It is because of the love of this dunya. وَحُبُّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيئَةٍ. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam then says that the love of this world is the root and the mother of all evil. The love of this world is the root and mother of all evil. It is mentioned as Ibrahim Adham rahmatullah alayhi once was in the marketplace in Basra when somebody met him and a few people came to him and said, "Oh Shaykh Ibrahim, oh Abu Ishaq, what is the reason that we are praying to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala? We are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but yet we find that our prayers are going unheard. Allah is not accepting our du'as. What is the reason?" Abu Ishaq, Ibrahim ibn Adham rahmatullah alayhi then says, "It is because of your heart being dead. It is because your heart has become dead." And what is the reason which makes your heart dead? He says, there are few things he makes mention. He says that one is that you recognize who is Allah. You know who is Allah, yet you do not fulfill the rights of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. We know the greatness of Allah, yet we do not fulfill the rights of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. He says you recite, you know who is Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You claim to love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, yet you live out the sunnah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. You do not bother about the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then he says, you recite Quran, but you do not make amal. You don't reflect and do not ponder upon the Quran. And because of not pondering upon the ayat in the Quran al-Kareem, you do not practice upon the ayat and upon the injunctions of the Holy Quran. And then he says, you benefit from the bounties of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. You use the bounties of Allah in your favor, yet you do not make shukr and show gratitude to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala for those bounties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed you with. And ulama have made mention, one of the ways of showing shukr to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala is that a person uses the bounty that Allah had blessed him with in the avenues of good. If Allah had given you wealth, you use that wealth in avenues of good and not in avenues of haram. In using it in avenues of haram is showing ingratitude and showing that you are not grateful to the bounties that Allah had blessed you with. And then he says, you accept shaitan and you know that shaitan is your arch enemy, yet oppose him. You do not oppose him. And then you regard Jannah to be true, yet you do not work towards attaining the Jannah. You regard Jahannam to be true and an evil abode, yet you do not stop those actions which will take you towards Jahannam. And he says, you claim and you know that maut and death is the reality. You know maut and death is the reality, yet you are not ready for it. And you don't prepare for it. And then you go to sleep, and when you get up in the morning, what do? You start searching out for the faults of others and not looking at your own faults. You start searching out for the faults of others and become blind with your own faults. And then he says, you bury your dead, you bury your loved ones, you are frequenting the qabristan and the graveyard for the burial of your loved ones, yet you do not take heed, yet you do not take lessons from this. And because of this, he says, that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not accept your prayers. I expect elders and friends, an incident comes to mind. There was a person came in a company of the Shaykh al-Hadith, Moulana Muhammad Zakaria rahmatullah alayhi, a great scholar whom Allah ta'ala has accepted throughout the world. To find that up to this day you go to many masajid in different parts of the world, you'll find his books available in Fadail, Sadaqat, Fadail, Zakat, etc. In different languages it has been translated. The Shaykh was once sitting when somebody came to him with a young boy or the child and wanted him to make dua for his child. So when he brought the child in the presence of the Shaykh, there were other people in there as well. Suddenly the boy started throwing a tantrum, started crying, and like normal the father didn't know where to put his face, he's trying to calm down the son. And then the Shaykh starts crying. The Shaykh al-Hadith started crying. And then he said something. He says, leave this boy to cry. Today the ummah do not have people to cry. Perhaps because of the crying of this young boy. Because of the crying of this young boy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will look at mercy upon us. Perhaps the crying of this one child will bring the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. There was once also a person, a pious person, and it was towards the end of his life. Suddenly people started coming to him, he was owing them some money, he bought certain things. And yes, everyone comes to him that, you're owing me so much. At that moment he had no money. So he says, no problem, I'll try to sort you out. They say, no, we need it. We know you at your last, and perhaps you're not going to get our money. He says, don't worry, you will get your money. He says, no, we need our money now. So he says, okay, have a seat. Next person comes, have a seat, sit in a line. Suddenly a young boy comes selling some candy. And it is mentioned, he comes in the room and he's selling this candy. The chef sees him and says, okay, no problem. How many people are sitting here? They count 10, 15, whatever it may be. He says, give everybody one. I'm buying it from you. Now the young boy comes for the money. He says, you also wait in the line. You also wait in the line. This boy started crying. This boy started crying so much that I want my money, you took my sweets, you took my candy, where's my money? He cried so much, and then the Shaykh started smiling. After a while, someone knocked the door with a parcel and said that so-and-so had sent a gift for you. When he opened it, it was some dirhams and dinars. And he said that, started giving and calling the people who is owing them and paid each one. And then he told them something. This had come because of the tears of this young boy. Allah Ta'ala at times waits. He wants to send down His mercies. He's waiting for us to cry in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many of us in the dead of the night, when it is a unique moment to sit with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why don't we take out some time, cry for the Muslim ummah, shed some tears for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is only you and Allah at that moment who knows what you are crying for. When the entire humanity, when the entire ummah and people in your own house perhaps will be sleeping, but you wake up and you cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those tears, my respected elders and friends, those du'as made in the dead of the night to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not go unanswered, inshallah. Time does not permit. I would like to end off with an incident in the time of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. There was a person by the name of Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala was one of the governors he was one of the governors of a place called Hims. He was sent by Hazrat Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu during the Khilafat and the rule of Hazrat Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. However, the people of Hims was similar like the people of Kufa, that they always troubled their rulers. And they came to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala complaining that, oh Umar, this Amir some problem with him. We've got a problem with him. I don't think he's suitable for this position. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala worried that because Umar radiallahu ta'ala was that person whom Allah had blessed him with foresightedness. He could see deep into, he could read deep into situations. Allah had blessed him with a spiritual eye. So he feared two things. That one is, I have appointed somebody who is wrong. And this is the ummah. I am answerable for these people. I have appointed the wrong person to govern over them. What will I answer in the court of Allah? And second, is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has deprived me from this bounty that Allah has blessed me with, that I could read into situations? Am I losing this gift that Allah has given me? So anyway, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala calls in Hazrat Sa'id ibn Amir. And like in those days, it was the golden era, it was the glory days, when even the ruler, the Amir of the time, no matter who you are, if you could be brought to book. There's transparency to the highest. Anybody could be called to answer. Be it Amir al-Mu'mineen, be it the governor, be it a normal person, be it a Sahabi of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, be it from the family of Nabi alayhi salatu wa sallam. Each one was equal in answering in front when there was any allegation against that person. So anyway, Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala is brought, and the people are brought. The general public is sitting, Umar ibn Khattab is sitting, Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala on one side. And when they asked, the people was asked, that what is your problem? What allegations you got against Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu? And they mentioned, Nashku arba'am min af'alihi, that we've got 4 things against him. We have 4 problems regarding Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The first, they said, okay, Umar ibn Khattab says, go ahead, fire up. And he says, La yakhruj, that he does not come out from his, La yakhruj ilayna, he does not come out from his home until the latter portion of the day, just before the time of Zawal. That is the only time that he comes out. So we've got work, he makes his public appearance only at the time of Zawal, in the latter part of the morning, where we need to meet him from the beginning. So we cannot talk to him. At that time, even if you want to meet the ruler, you could go to him and talk to him. So we cannot converse with him. So Hazrat Sa'id ibn Amir was asked by Umar that, oh Sa'id, what do you say regarding this? Sa'id ibn Amir then said, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, هذا سر بيني وبين الله. That, oh Umar, this is a secret between me and Allah. But because I have to answer, you are the Amir, these people got these allegations, I will have to answer to you. He says the reality is this, that I, Sa'id, do not have anybody, a domestic to assist me. I don't have a slave, I don't have a partner, I don't have any domestic at home who can help us with our daily chores. Therefore, in the morning portion or the early portion of the day, I assist my family at home with the domestic chores. I see to the needs of my family. I see to the needs of my neighbors. And once I have done this, and now my home is intact, I have cleaned the house, I have assisted my beloved wife, that's the time I make my public appearance. People who came with the allegation now started looking at this is the governor, and yet he does not have any extra luxury in his house. He doesn't even have a slave. He doesn't even have a domestic to assist him. The second was, they asked, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar ibn Khattab then asked, that what is the second allegation that you have regarding Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu? So, the second issue, that لا يجيب أحدا بالليل. He doesn't answer to anybody's calls at night. His phone just rings. His phone is off. He doesn't come to the door. We need to speak to him. At times we've got a problem at night, but he doesn't want to answer us. So Sa'id ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Hazrat Umar said, oh Sa'id, what is the reason for the second? He says, جَعَلْتُ النَّهَارَ لَهُمْ وَجَعَلْتُ اللَّيْلَ لِلَّهِ. That I have left the day for the public and for the creation of Allah, but the night is kept for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is my time to converse with Allah Rabbul Izzah. Respected elders and friends, it is the time when I converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. During the battle of Badr, as has been mentioned in Ramadan, on the 17th of Ramadan, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam set out from Medina Munawwara, coming to Badr, and 313 Sahaba with him, ill-equipped. That night, the Nabi of Allah cries the entire night, Ya Allah, my Sahaba, they do not have clothes. Oh Allah, clothe them. They do not have food. Oh Allah, feed them. Crying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if you have to destroy the small group of mine, that if you have to destroy the small group of my Sahaba, there will be nobody to take your name on the face of this earth to the day of Qiyamah. Hazrat Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, crying in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abu Bakr comes and says, oh Nabi of Allah, enough, Allah has heard your prayer. So Sayyid ibn Amir says that my night is kept for the worship of Allah. My night is kept where I converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So thereafter, the third thing is, oh people, what is the third problem we have with Sayyid ibn Amir? They say that وَلَهُمْ يَوْمٌ فِي شَهْرٍ لَا يَخْرُجْ. He has one day in a month that he doesn't come out of his house. One entire day he doesn't really come out of his home. So Nabi Hazrat Umar said, oh Sayyid ibn Amir, what is your problem? So Sayyid ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala says that the reason is that I only have one set of clothes. And at least once a month I need to give it a wash. Only once a month I have to give it a wash. So because it is wet, I cannot wear it. So I wait for that set of clothes to get dry and then I come out of the house. My brothers, I'm asking you not to give every luxury up. Make a little bit of changes. Perhaps we have the habit of eating out every weekend. Yes, we enjoy it. We all want it. Maybe one weekend, let us sit with the family and say, perhaps we're going to spend 700 rands in eating out. Today we will sit and eat at home. Take that money, quietly without anybody knowing. Put it into the tin for the people of Syria. Place it into the box for the people of Egypt. Place it in a box for your neighbors. Place it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that little change you can bring in our life. We're not asking you to give up all the luxuries. Just what we can do for the sake of Allah, for the people who are suffering. And then the fourth thing is saying that, oh Amirul Mu'mineen, when we are talking with him at certain times, suddenly he starts crying. And then suddenly he passes out, he becomes unconscious. And we are discussing, we've got an important discussion. There are different diplomats there, and suddenly this happens. We cannot take this, we do not know how to control it, we do not know what to do. Amirul Mu'mineen says, oh Sayyid ibn Amir, what is the problem? Why does this happen? And Sayyid ibn Amir says, oh Amirul Mu'mineen, let's go back to my dark days. This goes back to my dark days when I was a non-Muslim, a young boy in Makkah Mukarramah. And it was at that time when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam had sent a delegation, when some of our brothers from a place called Rajah had gone to Nabi alayhi salam to ask for trained teachers to teach them Quran and teach them deen. And amongst them, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam sent a sahabi by the name of Hazrat Khutbah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He says, when these people came to Makkah, then obviously those who have taken the promise of looking after them had forfeited their promise. And they were handed over to the people of Makkah. And in that manner, we were executing them. It was the time of Khutbah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was brought in the place of Tan'im, on the outskirts of Makkah. And all of us were there in joy. We were clapping, we were whistling. Khutbah radiallahu ta'ala anhu was placed on the ground. He first takes permission, they give me permission to perform 2 rakats of salah before I leave this world. Permission was granted, and then he was placed on the ground. First they faced him towards the Qibla, and then they say, no, remove him from the Qibla. As Khubayb at that moment makes, like has been mentioned in Bukhari, فَلَسْتُ أُبَالِي حِينَ أُقْتُلُ الْمُسْلِمَ عَلَىٰ I do not mind dying, whether I face the Qibla or not, but I mind, but as long as I know I am dying in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the sake of Allah. And in that manner, as Khutbah radiallahu ta'ala was executed, and I was amongst those who was happy, and we were happy at saying that let one more Muslim die. It is only one more Muslim, one less in this world. And then I moved on. A time came that Allah had blessed me with Iman. A time came that Allah had blessed me with Iman. But oh Nabi of Allah, this incident comes back and it comes to haunt me. That every time when I ponder upon this, I just fall out. I fall unconscious. I pass out, saying that, oh Sa'id, how will you stand in the court of Allah when Allah will ask you, what have you done at the time when my servant Khubay was being killed? Why were you joyous at that moment? I fear that how am I going to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? My respected elders and friends, let us at least inculcate and think that what fear will be, whether we have this fear, that how will we stand in front of Allah, with what heart will we stand in front of Allah, saying, Ya Allah, our brothers and sisters were being killed in Syria. Ya Allah, yet I seen the footage, I seen it, I passed it around from my mobile. But Ya Allah, immediately I said, let us go to the movies. Who bought the tickets? What show are we seeing? How am I going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire one and all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq, that Allah blesses us, with a heart which is always filled with the fear of Allah, and an eye which can tear for the sake of Allah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Alhamdulillah. alhamdulillah الذي خلق الإنسان وقد أتى عليه حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا فسواه وعدله على كثير ممن خلق فضله وجعله سميعا بصيرا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله بعثه بين يدي ساعة ليكون للعالمين نذيرا وآتاه جوامع الكلم ومنابع الحكم ووعده مقاما محمودا وجعله سراجا منيرا أما بعد فيا أيها الناس فإني أوصيكم ونفسي أولا بتقوى الله وأحذركم يوما عبوسا قمطريرا يوم تبلى كل نفس ولا تقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا تجد نصيرا يومئذ يندم الإنسان ولا ينفع الندم ويترك العودة إلى الدنيا وهيهات أن يعود ويخرج له كتاب يلقاه منشورا يا ابن آدم خير الحكمة خشية الله وخير الغنى غنى القلب وخير الزاد التقوى وخير ما أوتيتم العافية وكان ربك قديرا وخير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها لا إيمان لمن لا أمانة له ولا دين لمن لا أعد له وكفى بربك بذنوب عباده خبيرا بصيرا أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم من كان يريد العاجلة عجلنا له فيها ما نشاء لمن نريد ثم جعلنا له جهنم يصلاها مذموما مدحورا ومن أراد الآخرة وسعى لها سعيها وهو مؤمن فأولئك كان سعيهم مشكورا بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر رؤوف رحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى عليه صلاة واحدة صلى الله عليه بها 10 اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وارض اللهم عن الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن سائر الصحابة والتابعين اللهم اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر إخواننا في سوريا وفي مصر وفي شام وفي كل مكان عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر.